MACNA 2018 in Las Vegas was truly awesome and had a little bit of something for everyone.
Many things that we're going to do to celebrate women in reefing. We'll get this going so we can really recognize what women are doing in reefing and how we're at every level of the industry, we're making a difference, and also for the newcomers showing that you can do anything. You know, when I first started out, it's really difficult to see that I could really achieve my goals. You know, but I can, we can, and we're going to hear from some women today that have been very successful in the industry. And then I want to hear your stories too. I want to hear what you guys have going on and where you're at in your journey in reefing. Also, really quickly, on the table you find the bracelets. You take your bracelet to Rod's booth. Rod's is one of the companies who actually makes women's size t-shirts. He's recognized us all along. Yay for Rod. Yes. So take your bracelet, band for any gentlemen, or bands, but take your band for Rod's booth, get your shirt. So we're going to start off with Metro Cat, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself and where she's at and her start.
Okay, hi everybody, my name's Kat. My screen name everywhere is Metro Cat, my hashtag is ReefLikeCat. I'm just a regular hobbyist. I was trained in fashion design and then I just fell in love with fish tanks. Currently, I have a Red Sea 350. It's a 4-foot tank. It's a 4-foot tank. I was really blessed to have my first tank of the month on nanoreef.com. In 2012, in December. That was like 11 months into my journey into keeping reefs. So I switched careers. I was trained as a fashion designer, but I switched careers about 2 years ago to do marketing in the hobby. So I work as an independent contractor. I have my own marketing company. One of my largest clients is Marine Depot. I work for Coralview. I work for many of the brands that you use in your home. I worked for Rods in the past. Just wonderful people, wonderful brands. They really value me as a woman. It's very male-centric, as you know, in this hobby, and they really value me. I like to say, like, they give so much emphasis to what I have to bring to the table both as a hobbyist and as a woman. So if somebody will talk about like an amazing skimmer, I'll just say, oh my God, it pulls out the skin, it smells like God, it's great. You know, and they'll talk about how powerful the skimmer is. So the perspective that I bring is what they enjoy. So I encourage all ladies, if you think of this as a passion, as a hobby, you know, whichever brands you need, just keep in touch. You never know when they need you for whatever. So, you know, ladies, yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Maria. So if you want to flashback to whatever you were doing in 2012, I was in sophomore year of college. My roommate's friend had a betta fish. And I thought, whoa, wait a second, keep really using it warm. So I got a betta fish. And then it turns out 1.5 gallons wasn't enough, so I got it 2.5 gallons. And then I got it 5 gallons. And then I was like, let's get you a 10-gallon tank, lots of plants, a nice planted freshwater tank setup, dabbled in CO2 and all this stuff. And of course, I walked into the pet store, mom, off campus, and turns out there are clownfish there. So what did I do? The second moved off campus, I got myself one of the Nano 28-gallon tanks, started with ponds, and of course, immediately I understood the cycle. Let's do some research. I found Nano Reef, and the first inspirational thread I find is cats are a 34-gallon tank. So I'm fangirling, I'm on the internet, I'm looking at everything that she's been doing, all the fish, all the corals, And I fell in love with the idea of having a reef in my room, in my house, wherever. And it's been a fun 6 years. I met Metrocat in person at one of our local nerd events where we just hang out at a beer authority and have some drinks. And we hit it off, as you can tell. So here I am at my second MACNA. It's amazing, and I'm so glad to see that so many women are getting inspired to get into this hobby, and that's how I got into the hobby, and hopefully we're all going to inspire more.
Focus on a different area because the purple hawk is the purple marker. Now let's hear from Paula, and Paula Carlson is, go ahead and tell your title.
Okay, so I'm Director of Husbandry at the Dallas World Aquarium in downtown Dallas. We're a very, very unique place that's privately owned by our director. His name is Daryl Richardson. And hello, Charles, come join us. Y'all know Charles, don't you? Charles, I have a story to tell about Charles. And I'm telling you God's honest truth, Charles. I will admit that I was not a reef keeper personally. I was always a freshwater fish, or I had a little shark, but I didn't have a reef tank in my home. My reef keeping experience came while working in the profession at SeaWorld and at the Dallas World Aquarium. And many, many years ago, Charles came, we were battling hair algae in our Solomon Islands exhibit. We had this giant Napoleon wrasse that wasn't ready to grow up and go in our big reef tank yet. And I was very frustrated with the hair algae, and I was telling Charles all the things we're doing, and he was looking at our giant plans, and I said, Charles, you know, here's what the water quality is, here's what's going on, what can we do? And he told me two things. He said, well, three things actually. Increase your salinity, increase your temperature a little bit, because we have the temperature down a little bit. And he said, increase your alkalinity, and that'll choke out the hair algae. And Charles, to this day, you have zero hair algae at the Dallas. But
is the check in the mail? Paula is a shining example of a woman who's gone far in the industry that's dominated by men. Yes. She's been the director of husbandry at the Dallas World Aquarium for
23 years.
23
Wow.
Ladies, I say this all the time. In fact, I was known to say this at a Rising Tide meeting recently. There have been women in this hobby for a really, really long time. Most of the people who apply for our jobs are women in the profession. Most of the up-and-coming curators in the industry are women, thank God. The difference is, and that's no knock against you, it's just time. It's just time. And I see some striking differences between men and women in terms of their style of reef keeping. Most men, and this is not to paint everyone with the same brush, but that I have seen over the years, are very much into projects and building and tech stuff, and they always want to change the lines and do something automated and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Women are nurturers by nature. We're incredibly observant and very patient, and we see things that other people sometimes don't see. We have, you know, we hear differences in pumps. So I think some of the vendors lose our interest when it's all about the high tech and not all about the joy and the learning experience and the things that we learn keeping reefs and keeping fish. First thing I ever got to do at SeaWorld was take care of our big 180,000 gallon artificial reef tank. And I had only taken care of small aquariums before that, so having to learn to backwash and learn about supersaturation, all that kind of stuff was crazy on a giant system like that. My very first mentor at SeaWorld, who taught me it doesn't matter what size the system is, it all operates the same way. Don't be afraid because it's 180,000 gallons. I have had the great fortune or privilege to work with career fish all of my life, especially things like sea dragons and Japanese angelfish, which is my reef tanks are the tanks that I take care of at work, and I delegate everything except for one, which is our director's office tank. I spent a lifetime troubleshooting everything. I spent 4 years in the current retail business and spent a lifetime troubleshooting everything from a 20-gallon tank to a now 400,000 gallon Shark Tank. The things that I was taught very early in my career have never changed, regardless if it's a 20-gallon tank or a 300,000 gallon tank. Patience is a virtue, cleanliness is next to godliness, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And don't believe everything you read. It's a tricky thing, especially in this day where you can read everything on social media. Go with your gut. My whole world is cliches. I'm very, very, very conservative when it comes to taking care of that shit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And there's very little that a water change won't solve.
And what's really cool is that these people that are really at high levels in the people, women that are at high levels in the industry will absolutely take the time to talk to each of you. And I've talked to these people on the phone, and they've been so welcoming, and they've helped me in different areas, and it's really cool to be a part of this community that we're making right now. So, and go ahead.
Charles.
I want to do an informal survey, and I have a theory on this one. How many of you are from east of the Mississippi? Just raise your hand.
East of the
And west of the Mississippi? On the line. So I started doing talks. I used to get invited to speak to aquarium societies. It was like in the 1988, 87 range. There was two things that struck me about if I was on the East Coast or on the West Coast. One is that everybody on the East Coast had glass tanks, and everybody on the West Coast had acrylic tanks. Second was, the further west I got, the more women I saw in the hobby. So I don't know if this informal survey seems to show that hasn't changed. So I put it to you, to this group, to come up with the answer. Why are there more women in this hobby on the West as opposed to the East? Bye.
We're all started where you guys are. I don't know one single professional aquarist that did not at some time in their life take care of a fish in their home aquarium. I don't know anybody, and a lot of them also worked at some capacity in the hobby at a retail store along the way too. So, or take care of fish tanks in the lab somewhere. So,
We all love you. Come on, Kathy. All right. Tell us where you're at, what you're doing.
My name is Kathy Legge. I live right on the Mississippi, right? On everything, St. Louis, Missouri. I started in this hobby when my son was 11 and he said he wanted to have a fish tank because of little fishes. I know I watched by the time with all the colors. So saltwater fish. I was kind of between jobs at the time. I didn't want to start an expensive hobby with only my husband's income and not my income. So we started reading, which is where we started with our hobby. We read all the stuff and we talked about it. It was $55 tank. It was great, and he loved it. And he loved it for about a month, and then he got lost in his interest. But I was still reading, and I was still enthralled. There's so much to learn. I majored in chemistry at college. I was told by my neighbor who worked at a big chemical company in St. Louis that I probably would never be employed because I'd have to be better than I'm now. And I just kind of took that with a grain of salt. Because I really wanted to study science. And what else was I going to do? I was going to college, I wanted to major in science, I majored in science. I got a job 2 weeks out of the college, and in biology lab, but still a job, enough to put my own apartment and start my life. And I stayed in biology, and I went back to chemistry, because I really liked it. And I worked in science labs my whole career, but when I started with the saltwater fish stuff, I started going to meetings, and I went to the IMAX back in the day when there were IMAX in Chicago, they were great. And I started reading Joyce Wilkerson's book, Another Woman. And she wrote this great book about clownfishes, and she detailed how to breed them. And I was just enthralled because, I work in science lab, so I've done some culturing of cells before, and I sort of had an idea what it meant to have, sterile technique and things like that. And so I started to play around with it, and at first I couldn't, it was too much information, and I thought, I'll just start with the beginning, start growing some phytoplankton. I did that, and then I started growth first, and then I understood how to do that, and then I complicated, and my fish didn't spawn. Somebody else's did spawn anyway. And so he said, you can have eggs. You put a little tile on the back wall where the fish were spawning, and sure enough, they spawn right in the tile, and a little bit very home. And as I started, and after about 3 tries, I had like 17 little codfish that grew up and they matured. And then the next time I had a couple hundred, and then I started selling them. And I started a small business, and I sold to every store in St. Louis. And then I sold to Europe, to wholesalers. So I didn't have much issue with, I never felt like I was outside the mainstream of fish breeding, because most of what I was talking to online, they didn't necessarily know it's woman or man, but they just reacted to me the way that anybody reacted to anybody else. So it was never an issue. And I just kept doing it, and the gobies, a couple different kinds of gobies, the shrimps. And then the buddy said, hey, my fish are spawning, would you like the eggs? After a couple tries, the fish actually got some of it. And a pretty little piece of fish in my basement that there is one egg. And that's my crazy thing. It's the one thing I've done that nobody else has done, so I'm really kind of proud of that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to repeat it, so that's what I'm keeping going now, is just trying to figure out.
Published, you'll find her articles here, there, everywhere. She's a very influential part of the breeding initiative, as far as I'm concerned. She's an influential
Did you
lead.
use rotifers as your first food source? For some fish, but not for angels. What did you use for the angels? It's a marine copepod called Barbacounts Pascal. And you have to, the copepod itself is too big. You have to knock it out with freshly hatched eggs on the copepod, so it's kind of involved. But it's all published, so it's all out there in the literature. So if anyone's interested, talk to me, I can put in the right direction. I spend more time culturing the copepod. Yeah, that's
Absolutely. It's all about that first food. Reed is actually someone who helped sponsor the Women in Reefing and the Seahorse and Pipefish. So we're going to have 3 reasons.
We actually feed our algae copepods with free products. I want to introduce in the back of the room one of the newest female folks at the Council of Training. This is Tamara Marshall. She's our Director of Live Food Culture. So if you have any live food questions, we are expanding our horizons at the DWA, and we hired some tremendous people to do that for us. And Tamara's patiently awaiting her new room, and we're very excited for her to have that and see what we can do.
She's definitely an example of a woman who has risen up and making great examples for us. So go ahead, Tamara.
So my name is Tamara Marshall. I started in about 2002. One of my friends was playing back in the so he did a lot of spawning and showed me algae one day, and I was he showed me rotifers, and I just knew that was what I wanted to do. So the very next week I started growing phytoplankton in my home with 2-liter soda bottles and an air pump, and that's kind of where it all started. So just kind of evolved from that. So I wanted to learn how to breed the entire food chain from here. All your different phytoplanktons, your rotifers, your copepods, and then of course that leads into larval work, and I love larval work. That's of course a lot of fun. But life feeds is where it's at, because it doesn't matter how many larvae you have, if you don't have the appropriate food source and the right nutrition, and your cultures aren't clean enough or healthy enough, you're not going to be successful. So that's what I focus on. Dallas Aquarium, I was hired to kind of head up that new aquaculture program. I do all the different live feeds there. So I do 4 different types of algae and 1 diatom right now. We just started, and rotifers, and we're going to get into probably 2 different species: the copepod, the Paula Carlson, and also the Eloquently. So.
And it's be up to she and Javier to raise all those career fish that we've been working with at the development.
And we just got an announcement that actually you will be a 2019 MACNA speaker.
I will be, yes.
Amazing. You're an inspiration. Very good.
Yeah, it's just going to be like live feeds talk, and kind of basic how to get started, how to be successful, how to make sure your filters are clean and healthy, and give your best chance of survival for your filter.
Make sure not to miss that one. Thank you,
But
thank you.
honestly, if you have any questions at all, like you're interested in starting with, algae, even if it's really basic, please let me know. I'd love to help you guys. I mean, I would absolutely love to see more women in the hobby and more importantly, just more successful breeding. So just let me know. I'm at the Dawsonville Aquarium. You can find me on Facebook, Karen Marshall.
Thank you so much for talking to me about this stuff. Rebecca.
Yeah, I've been
Maria's from LA, and she's had a maintenance business in the past, and has been in the hobby for, when did you get in?
I started at 21, so I've been in the hobby for over 40 years. My handle on Reef Central is a Reef Diva. Yeah, I started out with my first company was in saltwater systems and a stained glass design because I didn't know which was going to work. And then I got married, and then we started a company together, Andy and I, Aquatrends, and then I got a divorce, and I gave him Aquatrends because I was a psychologist at the time, full-time. Tried to keep 70 accounts going and work as a full-time psychologist for LA Unified School District. It was not going to happen. So I had to give up most of my accounts, and I kept a few. And then I started Aquatic Realm. So I have Aquatic Realm still. And then I finally got to retire from site services. Yay! And so I just get to keep Aquatic Realm. And I still love doing aquarium service and setting up reefs. I got my first reef tank in 1994. Reef tanks really took hold right before the earthquake. Now the big earthquake in the valley was 94. So guess when reefs really started in the valley? I mean in the United States. Does anybody remember when reefs really took off in the United States? About 1990. That's when we really got the technology. Right around 19, I never remember this. Now in Europe, Germany and the other, they predated us by about maybe 5-7 years or something. They were already rocking, and some other areas even up before that. I got my first tank in 94. I got like, I don't know, 180 or something. And then the earthquake took it out. I just set it up, I got a really wonderful climate, and I lost it in the earthquake. So then I reestablished it in 95. And ever since 1995, I have had a wash reef going. Right now I have a 350-gallon reef of my own. And my husband is, my husband now, who's not Andy, Michael, is not allowed to touch it. Not freaking allowed to touch it. He's like, what are you doing in the room? What are you in the room for? What would you? Oh, okay, okay, fine. Put it on the trash, okay. Do not touch it. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Don't even stop. I haven't been without an aquarium for so long. I don't know what I would do if I didn't hear water wonder. Yeah. I'd go crazy.
Thank you so much for talking to us. One of the things that let's actually clap for her. Sorry. I'm sorry. One of the things that I really hope comes of this is not just future women in reefing type get-togethers, panels, etc., but also this is just a great source. You know, when somebody says this is my name on Facebook, go find them. You know, I mean, we can make this into a community thing that lasts, and we can help each other in the industry. It's really makes me want to cry. But okay.
Just one other thing. Don't
yes.
be afraid of plumbing. Please, you come on. Plumbing is where it's at. And electrical, water and electricity is cool, you guys.
Thank you.
You've been electrocuted.
Right.
Shock once in a while. It's good for you. Yeah.
Melissa is actually going to talk a little bit, and she is yet another different area of the industry that, you know, she's going to show us that she's making a difference in a different way. There are just so many different ways that we can all make it, you know, an impact. And so, Melissa, go ahead and tell us.
Well, to begin, I've had freshwater almost all my life. About 10 years ago, I went snorkeling in Cozumel, and a week later is when I bought my first reef tank. It was just a small little 30-gallon. A year later, upgraded to a 55, and then all of a sudden I wanted a 120. So then I called the local fish store and I said, hey, if you know of anybody using or selling a used 120, you know, for this price, let me know. Well, I get a phone call from him like 2 weeks later. He's like, Melissa, I got your 120 in. What? I had no idea, you know, like he didn't say, hey, I am going to go look for it. Hey, I got one. It's just like, it's in. And it was a brand new one. And here, you got to pay me $750 for it. So I was like, it's like I got a new tank today. So I started running my 120, and I learned about Facebook groups of saltwater and stuff. And I was like, well, that's really awesome. And then on those groups, I started talking to some people. And actually, my first reef friend was Jessica Stan. So she and I started talking, and it turns out she lived an hour and a half away from me. And I learned of this thing called frag swaps, which I had no idea they even existed. So she invited me to the MACNA Reef Society frag swap. So we went there, had wine, met up with 2 other girls from the hobby, and we drove out to Madison. And I did my first frag swap, and I loved it. I was hooked. And then she knew Rod, and he invited us, and Ann paid him at the time, to go to MACNA 2015 in DC. So 3 of us girls went there, met tons of people, and I just fell in love with this. I fell in love with going to these shows. I fell in love with meeting all these people in the industry. I saw like how big this world actually was compared to just what I used to watch on YouTube. Well, I kind of stuck with Rod's food. We kind of just created like a little family. We got along. Him and Meredith are like family to me and my kids. So I go along to basically every show. We sponsor almost every of the big events, the local frag swaps, the frag clubs or the reef clubs. We do all of that. And here I am today. My 4th MACNA. First time in Vegas is really exciting. But yeah, there we go.
And she's awesome, you guys. I mean, give her a
Released to our booth, we're 418. We are giving away women's t-shirts to everyone who came here today.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Kim Patson, and we do King's Fish Factory. We now sell into 6 different stores, and we've actually shipped our first delivery to a national national wholesaler. And so, and if any of you hit us up on Facebook, let me know that you're interested in designer clownfish. I've been in the hobby now for 5 years. I've always kept freshwater tanks. And I became a realtor, and the first thing I did, my very first commission check was buy a reef tank. And then going to the frag swaps, we got really involved in the local clubs. Anything we can do to help the hobby. We now have 18 grow-out tanks at 50 gallons or more, and 8 breeding pairs. And most of them are galapagos, lineage fish, and then we also have a 300-gallon deep display. But like I said, hit us up if you're interested, or if you need any information about your clownfish. And we're always, always willing to help any way we can.
Thank you so much. I was a near hobbyist. I started off with the freshwater tanks. I saw the saltwater and said, oh, gimme. And then I went a step further because I found out that you could keep seahorses and pipefish. And so I said, be still my heart. That's like something I dreamed about from childhood. And so I started not only keeping seahorses, but by attending these types of events and breeding initiatives and those get-togethers. I've actually made connections with some of the top breeders, and they've helped me along the way. Seahorses are not as difficult, but I started off, with the standalone tanks, and was able to get really good advice from some of the professionals, and started actually finding success and getting better and better at breeding them. And so I also started being asked to share that information. Like, sometimes I get nervous when I'm standing in paper, but when I'm just talking to somebody, or when I'm typing something, or on a form or whatever, apparently, when I'm not trying too hard, I tend to make things easier to understand. Like, you know, someone will say, well, you need X, Y, Z from A, B, C and put it in the, you know, tube from here. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you just need a little white thing. That's all. And they get it, you know, so I do make YouTube videos, I'm trying to, you know, push out anything, but I do make videos and working on a website that will help anybody interested in seahorses and that type of information. So it's on the wristband, you know, keep it. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk more about seahorses in the Seahorse and Pipefish get together, which is 10 p.m. on Sunday. But, you know, I have found success in a different area than some of these women. And while I would really, really love to be out there diving and, you know, learning different things or trying to understand the science of it, you know, I found my place is just somewhere different. But there's places for all of us, and you know, just sharing with each other is how we all grow. So I'm so happy. Thank you.
Life spectrum. I was in school for marine science. I was like playing outside. I'm like, oh, why did I go study marine creatures? And so I got a degree in marine science. And along the way, I kind of got into the hobbies, and it gave me a little teeny tiny freshwater pufferfish that just like fell in love, and I couldn't get enough. And so I've worked as a fisheries biologist here out on Lake Mead, and I'm the social media coordinator for the Life Spectrum. I don't have a reef tank yet because I've got a cowfish, but like this close to having. So I'm excited to meet all of you and doing the social media. I love talking to people. So if you see me around or even meeting today.
Christina and Michelle, I just want to say, and Kat, really helped me in bringing this together. We will do a lot more focused type events in the future, but this was thrown together at the last minute when I had a family emergency. And so I really want to thank them for helping me, you know, just get the idea together and get you guys all here. And Christina, did you want to say a few words about, you know, kind of what you're doing? And go right ahead.
Hi everyone. So it's just so cool to see so many people in this room. Again, like Kelly said, like when we walk by, there's another meetup, there's like 3 people at a table. So I had no idea how many people would come. So it's super great to see everyone here. Just because, you know, as a hobbyist, like I was sitting outside before 2 p.m. and this guy was like, oh, so did you get dragged here by your boyfriend? And I was like, no. No, I came here by myself. Thank you very much. You know, and so it's great to see like a lot of women who are active in the hobby and are able to come to shows and meet up like this, which is really cool. But a little bit about me and Christina. I am both a hobbyist and a scientist. And so I've been in the hobby for around 11, coming up on 11 years now, even though I love 12, I know. So again, one of the first sites I went to was nanoreef.com, and I love my nano reefs. I had my first reef tank in high school, so that encouraged me to pursue marine biology when I was in high school, took my marine bio class. And then I went to community college, took another marine bio class, and then I went to UC San Diego at Scripps Institution of Oceanography for my bachelor's, and I'm finishing up my master's this month in a few weeks, both in marine biology. And so, you know, throughout that whole time, I just tore down. I haven't posted this on Anime yet, so spoiler alert. But but I just took down my reef tank yesterday, and I'm super bummed because it's going to be the first time I haven't had at least one tank for the past almost 11 years. But that's because I'm going to move to Hawaii, so, you know.
That's a pretty big trade-off.
After this. And tomorrow I'll be presenting a poster about some of my master's research and talking a little bit about that. You'll find that I love algae.
Algae and those live first foods are just everything to this.
Hobbies-wise, you go into a fish store as a woman and people are like, are you bored to come in here and look at the fish, you know, from like the shop next door or something? But a lot of people in academia and like public institutions there's a lot of women who are, taking care of that exhibit where I am. I've been volunteering at Birch, where I am in San Diego. And so it's cool to see that there's a lot of women like in other sectors of the industry that we might not be able to see just on like kind of the regular like hobbyist level. So that's always encouraging and really, really cool to see. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's just so cool that there's so many women who are willing to be here and like come to MACNA and are really into the hobby, So yeah, so I think being a hobbyist is definitely a thing that influenced me to become a marine biologist, which I'm excited to do. I'm actually going to be working on coral restoration
Yes.
in a few weeks. So
Nice.
Yeah,
No,
my name's Nicole. I'm the general manager of Reef Builders. And so I've been in the hobby for about not that long, like 3 or 4 years. And I've got a job working at Reef Builders. But my background comes from scuba diving. I've been doing that for about 15 years. I also run my own website about scuba diving. And what I've really taken from this hobby is that keeping corals in your home really lets you develop a relationship with corals that other people in the dive industry don't have. And there's a lack of information and emphasis on looking and recognizing corals in the dive industry. And so I really straddle these two industries. I go to all these shows and I speak and I write about coral reefs for scuba divers. And that's what I'm doing. And so like you'll read a lot of the series I'm working on right now on our website is called Coral Spotting, how recognizing coral diversity can evolve your perception of the underwater landscape. And I really appreciate coming to MACNA and meeting all the aquarists because we have a far greater understanding and appreciation and knowledge of corals than anyone in the dive industry where divers are underwater looking at corals. So that's what I do. I'm also working in Bali right now. I'm working with Vincent Chalias, who's a coral farmer. We have a project called Ocean Gardeners where we're doing coral restoration. We have some coral farms that are over 15 years old. And so I'm working on that project with him now and how we can bring scuba divers into the coral farms and how we can kind of like demystify that idea that aquariums are bad and aquariums aren't a good thing, and how we can teach scuba divers like about corals and show them the benefits of coral farming as an alternative livelihood for coastal island communities. So come say hi, come diving. Everyone is
When I talk about the importance of public aquariums in science education and conservation, but hobbyists also have a role in this. And it's very important that people understand that we are the biggest advocates for the ocean environment. And sometimes we're saving things that aren't being saved in other places. But I think that's incredibly important right now in the climate that the world is experiencing, where people are trying to shut down the hobby and shut down collections, specifically in Hawaii, for example. It is critically important that our stories be told, that what we do and how it impacts our classrooms and our children and our day-to-day lives and our psyches and all the things that we all know that aquariums do. It's very, very important that those stories are being told. Not just, oh, my fish died, or how much does this squirrel frag cost? But what does this mean to me? What has it done for me in my life? What has it done for my children? What has it done for their schools or their classrooms? I'm going to be talking about a little bit about that tomorrow in the broader sense of all the incredible work that public aquariums are doing in the communities that you might not know when you walk in their doors, and shame on us for not promoting that better. Mm-hmm. So all of us have a story to tell. And it's critical in the way the world is working right now in the sort of anti-aquarium climate that we tell the stories, the success stories of our aquariums, the importance of the inspiration to the next generation of scientists that came from keeping an aquarium in your home. That is critical to the survival of this industry. And I'll get off my soapbox.
No, you're fine.
And also recognizing like coral diversity is what I focus on, and recognizing that all corals aren't going to die. It's recognizing which ones are more at risk and which ones.
Like I said, don't believe everything you read. Let's talk about survival stories. I know for a fact that corals can come back. I know they can if the situation changes where they are, and we are seeing that in aquariums. And organizations like Coral Restoration Foundation and Seahorse and stuff like that are proving that these corals can live given the right circumstances. So these stories are critically important, and our involvement in them, especially as women and mothers, critical that we as parents and mothers and women let other women know that this is something that's important, not just for us in the hobby, it's something fun to do, but to the ocean environment.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I was actually reading, I think, some of your work right before we came here because I found it so fascinating. Caring about the ocean and making sure that we're doing things for the right reason so that nobody can shut us down. Absolutely. Very important topics.
I just wanted to introduce myself and my friend and colleague Kylie. We're from the Aquarium in the Pacific, and we do have. We love MACNA. We went to MACNA 2 years ago for the first time, and I absolutely love being able to talk with more than just people in the aquarium industry. And our team is primarily made up of women, from our PhDs all the way down to our part-timers.
I had pictures of these women in my presentation.
And we have 8 of them here today. They just aren't here. So find us today and tomorrow, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you. We do a lot of our own rearing of cold water and warm water species and jellies and everything. So please come and set us up. And in the LA area, you can always find us.
The admission price pays for the great work that they do.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming and look at all of us women.